Hey guys, tonight we slip into one of the strangest awakenings you could ever imagine. Your eyes open, and the first thing you see is not a ceiling, not a bed, not even the outline of your own room. Instead, an endless horizon of dark stretches out around you, so deep it feels like a second skin. There's no floor, no sky, just an infinite black canvas sprinkled with threads of light. It's the kind of view that could turn your stomach inside out, if you weren't oddly calm. You're not supposed to be here, by the way. Biologically, you'd be frozen, breathless, and done for in seconds. But in this bedtime universe, physics takes the night off. You're safe, breathing, steady. Before we keep gliding, let me slip in something important. If you're enjoying this calm, gentle trip through the void, consider tapping that little button that lets this channel know you like what's happening. It's not an order, just a kind gesture that helps me keep making these journeys for you. And if you want, share your location and local time in the comments. I think it's beautiful to see people all across Earth lying down under different skies, but joining the same bedtime ritual. Now let's set the stage. The dark horizon is not empty. Stars burn at edges you can't quite measure. A faint blue smear of light paints one side, the outer arm of a galaxy you don't have a name for. On the other, a pale golden cloud curves like spilled sugar, a second galaxy tugging at your awareness. Between them you float. No sound, no gravity, just the cool press of nothing against your skin. You try to move your hand and watch it drift, as if the air itself is honey. Some scientists argue whether the silence of deep space is comforting or terrifying. Tonight, you learn it can be both. You feel the edges of your breath echo in your chest, like a drum heard underwater. You blink, and the black stretches wider. The universe does not hurry. Neither should you. Dim your lights, let a fan hum if you have one, and settle down as we drift further into this infinite horizon together. You let the idea sink in. Your body is suspended in the void. No strings, no ground, no ceiling. The laws you trusted, gravity tugging, air pressing, have vanished. You are weightless, caught in a kind of cosmic cradle. At first, your instinct is to panic. You twitch, expecting to fall, but there is no falling here. Your arms drift like ribbons in water. Your legs hover just beyond your command. Slowly, it clicks. Nothing is pulling on you. You are free of up and down. The stillness is strange but also addictive. Your heartbeat, steady and audible in your ears, becomes the only rhythm you can count on. Every exhale leaves you drifting a little, as though the universe itself is nudging you forward with each breath. Somewhere inside your chest, that familiar ache of earthly weight begins to fade. Imagine how astronauts describe it. The spine stretching, joints sighing in relief, a body finally unshackled. You are feeling that now, magnified. There's a detail you might not know. In actual space stations, astronauts often wake up upside down, their bodies naturally curling into what they call the space fetal position. You too find your knees drifting toward your chest without instruction. Your body is relearning itself in zero pull. Your inner ear, the one responsible for balance, is sulking. It has no clue what to report. Scientists still debate whether humans are designed to adapt perfectly to such endless floating, or if we would eventually lose all sense of self in weightlessness. Tonight, you play with that mystery. You close your eyes for a moment and let the void hold you like a hammock. The silence thickens. The horizon doesn't vanish, though. You can still feel the galaxies glowing, even with lids shut. It's like resting between two lamps, their glow seeping through your skin. Your limbs, forgotten by gravity, drift just out of alignment, and you laugh softly at how clumsy you look. No one's watching, except maybe a curious star. You remember how heavy the air felt back on Earth, the way your body pressed into the mattress at night. Here, The mattress is gone, but the comfort lingers in a different form. The fire crackles, the air softens, and you breathe slower. Only now, the crackle is replaced with starlight, and the air is replaced with the gentle nothing between galaxies. Light years flicker like fireflies. At first, your eyes don't quite know how to process it. Tiny pinpoints of brilliance hover in the distance, blinking in and out with the patience of eternity. Some shine white, others shimmer with hints of blue or red, and the farther you look, the more the specks multiply. It feels almost alive, like a swarm moving at a pace too slow for you to catch. These aren't just stars, they are entire galaxies, each containing billions of suns, each hiding planets you'll never touch. You float in their audience, a small body in a theatre too grand for its own curtain. One streak of light elongates, stretching across your vision like a frozen lightning bolt. That is not a trick of your eyes. It's a quasar, the lighthouse of the universe, so far away its signal began long before humans walked upright. Scientists still wonder if quasars are warning signs of chaos or just the universe showing off. Tonight, you don't analyze. You just watch it shine, calm and relentless. The colors soothe you. You notice faint green fuzz around a cluster of stars to your left. That's not imagination. It's the faint glow of oxygen gas, the same element filling every breath you've ever taken. The idea makes you smile. The universe really does recycle. You think back to Earth's fireflies blinking across fields in summer, and you realize the comparison isn't just poetic. Bioluminescence down there, nuclear fusion up here. Both are sparks reminding you that darkness never gets the final say. If every speck is a galaxy, statistically speaking, at least one of them probably has someone else lying awake, staring back into the void. Maybe they're even pointing toward you, wondering the same thing. Somewhere, a mirror soul might be counting your galaxy as a single twinkle. The thought makes you giggle softly, a laugh that vanishes into vacuum but still feels shared. The firefly flicker continues, hypnotic. Your breathing slows, following their rhythm. Inhale with one glow, exhale as it fades. The stars do not hurry. They blink in ancient time, and you settle into their pulse. Between two galaxies, wrapped in light years, you find the strangest comfort. Being tiny, being quiet, being held by the glow of what will outlast you. The hum of invisible currents begins to brush against you. At first, you think it is your imagination, but soon you realize there is a rhythm, faint but present, like the steady push of a tide you cannot see. Space, for all its emptiness, is not still. Gravity weaves invisible rivers, magnetic fields bend unseen arcs, and you are caught gently in their flow. You drift, not because you choose to, but because the cosmos nudges you along. Your body tilts, and you catch yourself rotating ever so slowly, like a leaf on water. The galaxies on either side trade places in your vision, one sliding overhead, the other dipping beneath. It makes you chuckle, a lazy somersault in a universe where no one keeps score. Astronauts often describe this kind of drifting as swimming without water, a phrase that feels oddly accurate here. You stretch your arm and half expect ripples, but the current simply carries you forward, indifferent to your gesture. There is science hidden in the sensation. The space between galaxies is not entirely empty. Particles, faint magnetic flows, even dark matter itself swirl here in ways too subtle for eyes to catch. Scientists still debate how these intergalactic mediums shape galaxies, whether they pull them like strings or cushion them like foam. You feel those forces not as facts but as whispers against your skin, guiding you without resistance. The hum grows clearer, though not in sound. It is more like pressure, the kind you sense when standing too close to a speaker with no music playing. You feel it in your chest, in the hollow of your stomach, in the spaces between thoughts. And just when you think it might unsettle you, it soothes instead, like rocking in a cradle you never outgrew. You remember how rivers on Earth would drag twigs, carrying them without question toward the sea. Here, you are the twig. The universe is the river. You surrender to the drift, a smile tugging at your lips because you know resistance would be absurd. Even if you could swim, where would you swim to? Better to let the cosmos do the steering tonight. And so you float, carried by invisible currents, galaxies trading places above and below, while your body hums in rhythm with forces older than memory. The whisper of ancient starlight grazes your skin, soft and almost shy. At first, it feels like nothing more than warmth on your cheek, but then you remember, these photons began their journey long before Earth had oceans, long before your name, your worries, your bedtime even existed. You are being touched by light older than memory itself. A star's life is long, but not infinite. Many of the lights shining toward you tonight may already be gone, their fires extinguished thousands of years ago. And yet, their last breaths still travel, still glow, still find you here between galaxies. Scientists still argue whether it's romantic or tragic to call starlight a ghost, but lying here, you feel it as both. Ghosts, after all, can comfort too. The glow comes in colours. One star hums red and low, another sharp and icy blue. Together they paint your drifting skin with stripes, and you notice your hand glowing faintly as it passes through their beams. You wiggle your fingers, amused at the thought. You've just given yourself the strangest light show imaginable. Somewhere, a future astronomer would pay millions for this view, and here you are, catching it casually while half asleep. Starlight actually bends around massive objects, a trick Einstein called gravitational lensing. Somewhere behind you, a galaxy could be warping the light you see, reshaping beams into arcs your brain reads as twinkles. You'll never know exactly what the original looked like. The universe edits its own artwork. Maybe it's showing you the director's cut. The starlight whispers not in words, but in rhythm. You feel it patter against your eyelids like soft rain, drip across your arms, settle along your shoulders. The fire crackles, the air softens, and you breathe slower. But instead of fire, the warmth comes from suns that died before your species even learned to write. Instead of air, the space around you holds only the quiet weight of light. You close your eyes and let that ancient glow wash over you. It doesn't ask you to do anything. It only reminds you that time moves, light travels, and you are here to catch it in passing. Echoes of life beyond reach tug gently at your thoughts. Floating between two galaxies, you realize you are not just surrounded by stars and dust, you are surrounded by possibilities. Every glow, every cluster might cradle a world with oceans, storms, forests, or even something that stares back at the sky and wonders. You drift, and that thought clings to you like a second skin. Scientists still debate the odds. Some argue the sheer number of stars makes life elsewhere almost certain. Others insist that intelligence is rare, maybe even unique. Tonight, you don't need answers. You only let the question breathe beside you, like a traveling companion who refuses to speak but makes you feel less alone. Your mind plays with small fantasies. On one world, maybe someone is lying in grass that smells strange, counting moons instead of stars. On another, perhaps creatures with translucent wings are settling down to rest, humming their equivalent of a lullaby. You imagine laughter bubbling in alien kitchens, voices sharing warmth in structures carved from stone or ice or materials you've never dreamed of. It doesn't matter if it's real. What matters is the comfort in imagining you are not the universe's only insomniac. Scientists once captured a mysterious radio signal, repeating from far away, nicknaming it the wow signal. It lasted just 72 seconds, but it left generations of astronomers scratching their heads. Was it interference? Or was it a cosmic hello? No one knows. Maybe tonight, drifting here, you are the only one who can pretend it was for you. The echoes do not sound like words. They come as feelings, tingles at the base of your neck, warmth along your spine, an almost musical rhythm in your chest. You let yourself believe that someone out there feels the same, lying beneath their own sky, waiting for sleep. The fire crackles, the air softens, and you breathe slower, as if syncing with invisible strangers scattered across galaxies. You smile at the absurdity. Billions of light years may separate you, yet somehow the thought of company in the vast dark makes this night feel less empty. The playful trick of time begins to wrap around you, stretching and folding like soft fabric. Out here, with no clocks and no ticking hands, seconds don't behave the way you expect them to. You feel one breath last an eternity, and then, suddenly, whole minutes collapse into a blink. It's as though the universe is teasing you, offering a taste of how it measures its days. Einstein once showed that time itself bends with speed and gravity. Near a massive star or black hole, your seconds would slow, while someone far away ticks faster. Scientists still wonder what it truly feels like to live inside that distortion. Tonight you don't have to wonder. You drift in a space where calendars mean nothing, where you are both ancient and newborn in the same moment. A memory comes to you. The drag of hours on a sleepless night back on Earth, how the clock mocked you with every sluggish tick. Here, the absence of a clock feels like liberation. There's no schedule, no alarms, no deadlines sneaking in, just the steady rhythm of breath. You laugh softly, thinking the universe might be the only place where being late has no meaning. When astronauts orbit Earth, they witness 16 sunrises and sunsets every day. Their sense of time splinters. Day and night lose their anchors. Floating here between galaxies, you feel a magnified version of that. No sunrise is coming. No sunset is waiting. The only marker is your body itself. Heartbeat. Inhale. Exhale. The fire crackles. The air softens. And you breathe slower, surrendering to the rhythm of your own cells. And then the trick deepens. You blink, and for a second you feel as though centuries are sliding past outside you. Galaxies rotate, stars are born and die, and yet you remain still, untouched, suspended in a timeless bubble. Then another blink, and you are back in your body, with a single second humming quietly in your chest. Both realities feel true, both feel safe. You smile at the mischief of it. Time, that bossy ruler back home, has no authority here. Tonight, you belong to the drift, where minutes stretch, centuries collapse, and all you need to do is rest. The forgotten map of your body unfolds like a map drawn in water. Muscles you relied on to stand, to walk, to shrug off rain, are unfamiliar companions now. Your hands float with their own agenda, fingers drifting open and closed without your conscious command. You trace the curve of your forearm and find the outline of a shoulder that seems both yours and borrowed. The sense of where you begin and the cosmos ends blurs, not in a terrifying way, but like ink softening at the edge of a page. You notice small things you took for granted back on Earth. Your spine, freed from its usual compression, lengthens with an almost audible sigh. On Earth, your joints carry the polite complaints of gravity. Here they are quiet, curious. Remember how the mattress used to hold you, how the weight of blankets made a gentle promise of return. Now the promise comes from the pull of two galaxies instead, a very large and patient kind of hug. The fire crackles, the air softens, and you breathe slower, letting that strange support settle into you. In real microgravity, fluids in the body redistribute upward, making faces puff slightly and voices a touch nasally. You feel that soft fullness behind your eyes as if someone has tucked tiny pillows there. It is oddly intimate. Scientists still debate whether long stretches in weightlessness alter our sense of self permanently, or whether we always find our way back to the person we were. Tonight you get to keep the question like a talisman. Astronauts returning from space often say their clothes smell faintly of metal or steak, as if vacuum carries a memory of barbecue. You laugh quietly at the idea that your floating pajamas might someday be described as toasted asteroid. The humor is soft and warm, exactly what you need. You practice small gestures to remind your body where it is. A deliberate inhale lengthens your torso. A slow exhale lets your limbs fall into new positions. You tap the heel of your hand against your chest and feel the steady drum of your heartbeat, the most honest instrument you have. With each beat you reclaim a border of skin, a patch of identity, until the map of you redraws itself, not as separate from the universe but woven through it. You let that weaving be enough for tonight. Conversations with shadows of stars begin as a quiet trick of the mind. You float, and the galaxies around you shimmer, and for a moment you think the light itself is speaking, not in words, not in sound, but in a rhythm that feels conversational. You tilt your head as though listening, half amused, half enchanted. The stars have been shining for billions of years. It would be rude not to let them talk first. One beam lingers on your cheek, warm and steady, like a friend resting a hand on your shoulder. You imagine it saying, "I burned long before you were born, but I've been waiting for you to notice." Another glimmer winks in and out, playful, as though teasing you with cosmic inside jokes. You grin, realizing you are answering back with your expressions, nodding like you're part of some interstellar gossip circle. Scientists still wonder about the information carried in starlight. Every photon holds a fingerprint: temperature, age, distance, composition. To astronomers, starlight is a library written in radiation. To you tonight, it is a whisper, a murmur in a language you almost understand. Maybe that's the point. The stars tell stories you can only half hear, forcing you to lean closer, to care. Some stars are so large they could swallow Earth whole, yet from where you float they look no bigger than pinpricks on velvet. You're basically trading secrets with cosmic giants who appear to you as glitter. It's like gossiping with elephants disguised as fireflies. The conversation drifts into memory. You think of nights on Earth when you lay under the sky, making up constellations that didn't exist, naming them after pets, crushes, or random shapes that only made sense to you. Out here, with no atmosphere to blur them, the stars sharpen, and you realize your imaginary constellations might have been closer to the truth than you knew. You murmur back to them now, letting your thoughts unravel into the silence. The fire crackles, the air softens, and you breathe slower, lulled by the idea that maybe the stars always wanted someone to listen. And tonight, suspended between galaxies, that someone happens to be you. The soft argument of galaxies feels almost like courtship. They do not shout, they negotiate with gravity, trading whispers of light and invisible tugs that reach across the dark. You watch as one spiral leans toward the other, arms stretching like dancers reaching for a partner, and you feel that pull in your bones, gentle and inevitable. You are not being yanked, you are being invited, and the invitation is impossibly patient. Galaxies interact through tidal forces, a fact you half remember from a documentary and half sense now as a tender pressure under your ribs. Stars drift out along long filaments, forming tails of glow like silk scarves flung in slow motion. Sometimes these encounters end in graceful passing, sometimes they end in collisions that birth new stars from the rubble. Astronomers still argue whether mergers are catastrophic endings or creative beginnings. Tonight, you are here for the tenderness of the negotiation, not the verdict. One galaxy offers a stray glob of light, another accepts it with a muted shimmer. You imagine them as elders trading stories, not opponents. The motion is slow enough that if you blink you might miss a century, yet close enough that you feel the suggestion of movement ripple through you. It is an argument without anger, a debate whose vocabulary is gravity, time, and light. You find it curiously soothing to watch such large things behave with such small politeness. When galaxies draw close, they sometimes fling out long tidal tails that look like cosmic spaghetti. Somewhere in that knotty pasta, a star might be tossed into a new orbit and end up wandering alone for billions of years. A galactic nomad, with an epic backstory and terrible directions. The mental image of a lonely star wandering with a tiny suitcase makes you laugh, a soft sound that bounces off empty space. You remember how earlier you felt your body remap itself, how starlight pattered on your eyelids, how currents cradled you. Now the galaxies debate above and below, and the rhythm remains the same. The fire crackles, the air softens, and you breathe slower, sinking to a motion that both calms and humbles. The argument is not loud enough to wake you, only generous enough to tuck you deeper into the drift. You let the two spirals settle into their slow conversation, and you settle with them, an attentive guest at a table where the language is enormous and the mood is kind. Homeward drift inside infinity begins without destination. You are not flying toward a planet, not aiming for Earth, not falling into a star. Instead, you are being carried in a steady embrace, a movement so slow it almost feels like rest itself. Between the two galaxies, the tug balances, and you hover in the middle like a pendulum pausing between swings. There is no rush, there is only the quiet luxury of being held. The galaxies on either side glow like twin lanterns. Their light spills over you, blending gold and blue until your skin seems painted with both dawn and dusk at once. You tilt your head, and the view follows you. It feels like lying between two windows, both open, both letting in completely different days. You laugh softly at the absurdity, two whole galaxies working together just to tuck you in. Scientists still wonder how equilibrium feels in the cosmic scale, whether perfect balance exists at all, or if the universe is always slightly lopsided. Tonight, you live the experiment. You are the midpoint, the living proof that balance is not a theory but an experience. Your pulse matches the rhythm of the void, steady and quiet, like a candle flame refusing to flicker. If someone could see you from far enough away, you would look like a single dust mote resting between two hurricanes, calm where chaos is expected. That image amuses you, makes you smile into the dark. Out here, insignificance feels less like a curse and more like a privilege. You remember how, earlier, light years flickered like fireflies, how currents rocked you, how the stars whispered. All of it led here, to this moment where there is nothing left to chase. The fire crackles, the air softens, and you breathe slower, returning to the loop that has followed you all night. Inhale. Exhale. Let the galaxies argue. Let the starlight whisper. Your eyelids dip, heavy as anchors, though anchors mean nothing here. You surrender anyway, trusting the balance, trusting the quiet, trusting that the universe will hold you until morning. And now, as the galaxies fade into background glow, the story itself softens. You do not need to keep watching. The light will keep shining without you. The currents will carry you whether you notice or not. Your only task is the simplest one. Close your eyes and rest. Take one slow breath in, let it travel down your body, and release it just as slowly. Feel how even in this imagined space, the rhythm of breath has been your anchor all along. Each inhale welcomed the unknown. Each exhale returned you to calm. Let that loop continue without effort. The fire crackles, the air softens, and you breathe slower. Again and again, until breath and thought merge into one gentle tide. Think back to the earlier comforts, the firefly flicker of light years, the whisper of starlight, the invisible currents that rocked you like a cradle. They are still here, waiting, but you no longer need to follow them. They will hold their places while you sleep. You have seen enough for tonight. The body remembers the feeling of weightlessness, the freedom from gravity's grip. Carry that sensation with you now, not as floating, but as release. The mattress beneath you holds you just as kindly as the cosmos did. The blanket covers you like a galaxy's arm. You are safe. You are small. You are exactly where you need to be. Let your thoughts dim like distant galaxies receding into soft blur. Let your muscles fall quiet like stars cooling after their burn. Let your heart rest in its rhythm, steady, patient, timeless. Tonight you are home inside infinity. Tomorrow, the universe will still be waiting. For now, sleep comes gently. Sleep comes fully. Sleep comes to carry you